Asterisk, asterisk. What if the deepest part of you, the part that's been with you since the moment you were born, is waiting for you to stop running? Stop striving, stop pretending, martyred system, and just listen. What if the voice of your soul buried beneath? The noise of your life holds the map to a truth so profound it could change everything. 10 seconds from now, you might feel a spark pull towards something greater than the daily grind. Something that whispers of meaning, of purpose, of wholeness. This is a journey into the heart of Carl Jung's vision of the soul. Psychological odyssey through silence, dreams, and the courage to become who you truly are. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes, and let's uncover the wisdom waiting. Within you a wisdom that doesn't shout but sings. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, uncharted forest. The air is cool, the path ahead shrouded in mist. You've spent your life racing toward goals, chasing answers, building a version of yourself to fit the world's demands. Now in this quiet moment, you sense something stirring a presence. Ancient and familiar, calling you to step inward. This is the call of the soul, not as a religious idea, but as Carl Jung understood it, a psychological reality, the deepest essence of who you are. Jung didn't see the soul as a theological concept confined to churches or sacred texts. For him, it was the core of your being, the wellspring of meaning that connects you to the universal human experience. It's not about faith in the divine, it's about faith in yourself and the vast, untapped potential of your inner world. This journey isn't about adding more to your life, more achievements. It's more status, more noise. It's about subtraction, about peeling away the layers of who you think you should be to reveal who you've always been. Jung called this process individuation, the path to becoming whole by integrating every part of yourself, the light and the shadow, the known and the unknown. But here's the paradox. To find this wholeness, you must first let go. You must learn to listen when the world demands you speak, to sit in silence when it urges you to act, to trust the quiet voice within. When everything system around you screams for control, the soul doesn't speak when your ego is shouting. The ego, that part of you obsessed with success, with being seen, with being right, thrives on noise. It builds walls of certainty to keep the world at bay. But the soul waits. It waits for the moment when the ego's chatter fades, when the masks you wear begin to crack, when the life you've built feels heavy and hollow. That's when the soul begins to whisper, not in commands or answers, but in questions, images, and feelings that stir something deep within. It's as if your soul has been holding a conversation with you your entire life, and only now, in the stillness, do you begin to hear it. The stillness isn't easy to find. We live in a world that glorifies motion, endless notifications, deadlines, and distractions pulling us outward. But Jung believed that the soul only speaks when we create space for it, when we practice what he called conscious silence. This isn't just sitting quietly. It's an active choice to turn inward, to let the world's demands fall away and listen to the subtle currents of your inner life. Picture yourself sitting alone in a room, no phone, no music, just you and your breath. At first, it's uncomfortably your mind races, your ego protests. But slowly, the noise begins to settle, and in that quiet, something emerges. A thought, a memory, a feeling you didn't expect. This is the soul's first language, tentative and soft, inviting you to go deeper. For Jung, the soul's clearest voice comes through dreams. Every night, as you sleep, your soul sends you messages, not random images, but letters from the deepest part of yourself. Jung saw dreams as invitations, each one a doorway to the self, that integrated. A whole version of you that lies beyond the ego's grasp. Have you ever woken from a dream that felt too vivid, too meaningful to dismiss? Maybe it was a fleeting image, a tree with roots stretching into the earth, a stranger offering you a key, a path winding into darkness. These aren't accidents. They're the soul's way of speaking, using symbols instead of words, guiding you toward truths your waking mind might resist. I remember a dream from years ago when I was wrestling with a choice that felt bigger than me. In it, I stood at the edge of a cliff, staring into a vast, starry void. An old woman appeared, not someone I knew, but her eyes held a knowing that made me feel seen. She didn't speak, but pointed to a narrow path winding down the cliff. I woke with a sense of clarity I couldn't explain. Later I realized the path was a symbol of trust in the unknown, and the journey inward. Jung would say this was my soul, speaking through the archetype of the wise old woman, urging me to let go of control and follow where it led. The ego doesn't like this. Ego seeks control over outcomes, over how others see you, over the story you tell yourself about who you are. It builds a life around safety and certainty, but the soul doesn't care about your resume or your social media followers. The soul seeks connection not just with others, but with the deeper currents of existence. It asks, are you real? Are you living from your truth? Or are you performing a role? This question can be unsettling. It's easier to stay busy, too. Chase the next goal than to face the possibility that you've been living someone else's life. But the soul's call is relentless. It doesn't demand perfection, it demands authenticity. This authenticity often comes through pain. Jung believed that the soul speaks loudest in moments of crisis. When you lose a job, a relationship, a dream. These aren't just setbacks, they're portals. Pain, loss, and silence strip away the ego's illusions, forcing you to confront what lies beneath. I've seen this in my own life, during a period of grief after losing someone close. The world felt heavy, meaningless. But in the quiet moments, sitting with that pain, I began to hear something new, a sense of purpose that wasn't tied to achievement, but to presence. Jung would say this is the soul's work, to pull you back to yourself through the very things you'd rather avoid. Think of a time when life broke you open. Maybe it was a betrayal, a failure, or a moment of profound loneliness. In that space, when the ego's defenses crumbled, did you feel a shift? A quiet strength, a flicker of insight. It was your soul stepping forward. It doesn't promise to fix the pen, it promises to transform it. The soul uses loss to teach you what matters, silence to show you what's true.
These moments are
Sacred, not because they're easy, but because they're real. Individuation is not about becoming someone new. It's about unbecoming everything you're not. It's shedding the masks you've worn to please others, the beliefs you've clung to out of fear, the stories you've told yourself to avoid the truth. This isn't a quick process. It's a lifelong dance of letting go, of facing your shadow. Parts of you you'd rather hide and integrating them into a fuller version of yourself. Imagine a sculptor chiseling away at a block of marble. The statue is already there, hidden within. The artist's job isn't to create something from nothing, but to remove what doesn't belong. That's individuation, carving away the excess. To reveal the soul's truth, this process can feel like a descent. Jung often spoke of the dark night of the soul, a period of doubt, confusion, or despair that marks the turning point in individuation. It's not something to fear, but to embrace. In my own life, I've faced moments where everything I thought I knew about myself unraveled. A career path I'd invested years in collapsed, leaving me questioning who I was without it. In the silence that followed, I began to journal, not just my thoughts, but my questions. What did I truly want? What was I afraid of? Those questions didn't bring immediate answers, but they brought clarity. They brought me closer to the soul's quiet voice. Aging plays a unique role in this journey. Our culture, especially in the West, fears growing older. See it as decline, a loss of vitality or relevance. But Jung saw aging differently, not as decay, but as the soul's ripening. As you age, the ego's grip loosens, rares. You care less about proving yourself, more about being yourself. The lines on your face, the experiences etched into your memory, become a map of your soul's growth. Think of an old tree, its branches gnarled but strong, its roots deep in the earth. That's what aging can be, not a fading, but a deepening. A flowering of wisdom that only time can cultivate. I met an elderly woman once, a neighbor who'd lived through decades of change in her small town. At 80, she radiated a quiet joy. Envied, she told me. I spent my youth chasing things. Money, love, approval. Now I know the only thing worth chasing is peace. Her words stayed with me, a reminder that age doesn't diminish. USAT distills us. The soul ripens not by avoiding life's hardships, but by moving through them with courage and reflection. The soul doesn't speak in words alone. It speaks in images, symbols, feelings, a language that's both universal and deeply personal. A sunset that stops you in your tracks, a melody that brings tears to your eyes, a dream that lingers long after you wake. These are the soul's vocabulary. Learning to hear this language is like tuning a radio to a faint signal. It takes patience, attention, and a willingness to sit with the unknown. Jung believed that symbols are the soul's way of bypassing the ego's defenses, speaking directly to the heart. When you see a recurring image in your dreams, a door, a river, a mountain, it's not random. It's your soul pointing the way. How do you learn to listen? Start with conscious silence. Set aside 5 minutes each day to sit quietly without distractions. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and notice what arises. At first, your mind will resist. Thoughts will flood in, urging you to check your phone or plan your day. Keep going. Let the thoughts pass like clouds. In that space, the soul begins to speak, not in clear instructions, but in whispers of insight. Try this. Ask yourself, what is my soul trying to tell me today? And listen without forcing an answer. Write down what comes up, even if it's just a single word or image. Dreams are another doorway. Keep a journal by your bed each morning. Write down what you remember, no matter how fragmented. Face, a place, a feeling, every detail matters. You'll notice patterns. Maybe you keep dreaming of water, a symbol of emotion and flow. Maybe it's a figure, an elder, a child, an animal offering guidance. These are the soul's letters, inviting you to explore the parts of yourself you've overlooked. I once dreamed of a locked door in a stone wall. For weeks I wondered what it meant, until I realized it was my fear of change, keeping me from stepping into a new chapter. The dream didn't solve my problem, it showed me where to look. Protecting your psychological energy is crucial in this work. The world is loud, pulling you in 1,000 directions. Social media, news, endless obligations, they drain the soul's reserves. Jung believed that to hear the soul, you must create boundaries. Say no to things that don't align with your truth. Turn off the screen and turn inward. Limit time with people who leave you feeling depleted. This isn't selfishness. Stewardship of your inner life. I've learned to carve out soul time each week, an hour, with no agenda. It's just me and a notebook, a walk in nature, or a quiet moment by a window. It's not about escaping the world. It's about recharging, so you can engage with it more fully. Connection is the soul's ultimate desire, not shallow networking. It deep, meaningful bonds. This starts with connecting to yourself. Journaling is a powerful tool here, right? Not just what you know, but what you wonder. Ask questions like, who am I when no one's watching? Or what does my soul long for? Don't censor yourself. Let the words flow. Over time, these questions become a dialogue with your soul, revealing truths you didn't know you carried. You can also connect through creativity, painting, music, dance, anything that lets your soul express itself without judgment. I started sketching after years of thinking I wasn't artistic. The images weren't masterpieces, but they were mine, and they carried a truth words couldn't capture. Pain and loss, though hard, are the soul's greatest teachers. When life breaks you open, a heartbreak, a failure, a betrayal, it's tempting to numb the pain or rush past it. The soul thrives in those raw moments. Sit with your grief. Write about it. Ask, what is this teaching me? When I lost a close friend, I spent months avoiding the pain, keeping busy to distract myself. But when I finally sat with it, journaling through tears, I found a strength I didn't know I had. Soul doesn't erase. Panet transforms it into wisdom, and Davida is a lifelong journey. But it's not about reaching a finish line. It's about moving toward wholeness, one step at a time. Each moment of silence, each dream you record, each question you ask, brings you closer to the self. This isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming real, Jung wrote. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That's the soul's promise. Not a life free of struggle, but a life rich with meaning. Aging deepens this process. As you grow older, the ego's need for approval fades. You start to see through the illusions of youth, beauty, status, success, and value what endures: love, truth, presence. I've watched my parents age, their stories shifting from ambition to reflection. My father, now in his 70s, once told me, "I used to think life was about winning. Now I know it's about understanding." That's the soul's ripening, a slow blossoming that comes from living fully, not perfectly. The soul's language symbols. Images, feelings requires a new kind of listening. Spend time in nature. Notice how a tree's stillness or a river's flow speaks to you. Listen to music that moves you, not to distract, but to feel.
Pay attention to synchronicities.
Moments when life seems to align in uncanny ways. A few years ago, I saw owls everywhere in books, on signs, in dreams. Curious, I looked up their symbolism and found they often represent wisdom and transition. It was as if my soul was signaling a shift, urging me to trust the path ahead. These moments aren't coincidences. They're the soul's way of guiding you. As you walk this path, you'll notice a shift. You'll feel less need to prove yourself, more desire to be yourself. You'll start to see others differently too, not as competitors or obstacles, but as fellow travelers, each with their own soul's journey. This is the gift of individuation. It doesn't just change you. It changes how you move through the world. You become a quiet light, not by preaching or performing, but by being. In a culture obsessed with noise and speed, this is revolutionary. A soul at peace doesn't need to shout it. Shines, this journey isn't easy. It demands courage. It asks you to face your shadows, to sit with uncertainty, to let go of control. But the rewards are infinite. You'll find a clarity that no achievement can match, a connection that no distraction can rival. You'll discover the soul's truth. Not in a single moment, but in 1,000 small ones each. Step or return to yourself. So where do you begin? Tonight, take 5 minutes to sit in silence. Ask your soul a question and listen. Write down a dream, a feeling, a symbol. Say no to distractions. Take a walk alone. Let the world fade and feel your soul's presence. These are not tasks there. Invitations to a deeper life. If this resonates with you, join us at @ShadowSage-U7N. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts